Everybody for coming out. I know we've got 3 classes plus some extra folks in here, so we've got roughly 85 people in here. So appreciate you guys making the time. We've got a special guest, Paul Willis, flew out from Boston to be with us as part of Hip Hop Was Global. This is the first time that we've had him here, and hopefully not the last. So super excited. We just did an MC workshop last period, and today he's going to give you a keynote speaker presentation. And so we've also got another special guest, Chinua Rhodes, and so from Sac City Unified School District. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Paul.
Appreciate you, Mr. Vedder. Thank you. What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. We getting there. I feel like it's like after lunch, it's early afternoon. You know what I'm saying? We just cut the lights. So people feeling, you know what I'm saying? I know y'all feeling it. It's cool. We're going to bring that energy. They asked me at the end of the master class to rap. And I was like, you know what? That should probably be the first thing that I do as part of my introduction. So to not make it super long-winded, my name is Paul Willis. I'm a hip-hop teaching artist and author of Hip Hop Leadership. This is my book right here. We're going to talk about it. So we'll get into that. We're going to get into hip hop at a global level and all that stuff. But I want to share with you my story. Is that cool?
Yeah.
It requires a little bit of call and response though. So y'all voices work?
Yeah.
Okay. I had to ask. You know what I mean? We're gonna find out in a second. So when I say this is straight from my book of rhymes, I need you to say my book of rhymes. We gonna practice. Okay. This is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
Check.
Want this one?
Check. Yeah. Jim, can I pass this to you? This is straight from my book of rhymes. 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 It's the opera notes? Okay. I don't know what Timothy Chalamet was talking about. Crazy. I went from Jamaica Plain all the way to Bodega Bay. Things were straight for 1987 and 98. Then the hits came and it's changed with the quickness. When I was 12, my grandma was diagnosed with a sickness. See, books is black and white. My school was black and white. One of 13 blacks who could bridge that divide. No disrespect, my friends were upper middle class with intellect. Studying in class because being street was easy to expect. Black but not hood enough. Smart but not good enough. Leader because I lost so much that I could erupt. It was only a matter of time if I was out of my mind. Every summer was reckless. My mom was out of a job. Brothers in and out the house. Some were friends, others foes. Squares trying to keep me boxing. I stay on my toes, praying to the Lord. Like, is this my ceiling or my flow? Can open the next door until the last one closed. Because this is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
This is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
This is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
This is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
I almost drowned when I was 7. I heard the waves that changed the ship's belly of the beast. I was losing. Grandma sacrificed hospital nights was a crucifix. My mom was sacrificed by her dad on some voodoo shit. Seems like the dark runs in the family. Veins suffocate by blood clot. When you hang with me, stick and move, hit the kitchen stool, witches brew. I got miles to go before I sleep comfortable, so I have no fear. Should have been dead, but it's so clear. There's something more that's left for me than what I know here. I watched the sun grow into Apollo. Just because you claim to be a leader doesn't mean I will follow. Dreams stuck in between, couple ounces in the bottle, barely hanging on now. Why would I care about tomorrow? They're telling my future bright with a past full of sorrow. I hope I can feel what's in hollow. So this is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
This is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
This is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
This is straight from my book of rhymes.
My book of rhymes.
Now I'm a rebel without a cause, 11 in my catalog. I invest, so I bet on me, that's what I can afford. And the people love it, they applaud at their own accord. Can write me off, why I try my course. I know I haven't made it yet, dream big, the craziest. Futurists debate the best, playing safe ain't the safest bet, but underestimated took losses when I played my best, but no regrets, it's all part of the test. Life blessed you with a gift of very diplomatic also. I counted every punch with jack hooks to the torso. I seen the best in life because I know it when it's awful. I'm not that far, I'm thoughtful, wishing you were more so. Lyrics like hieroglyphics were written in the source code. My hope is the music brings you peace in your war zone. Boom back like Morse code, we the people, yeah, I thought so. We will all meet at the crossroads. But now I'm lacking competition because I'm in it by myself. Positioned by the rivers, now I turn them into wealth. I've listened for long enough, hidden for long enough, put one foot in front of the other, now I'm tripping, falling up. A ladder of success starts on the bottom rung. Every day I wake up and look at who I've become, and I'm impressed. I overcame the greatest threat, built a bridge and paved the way for the next. No idea what the future holds, but truth be told, every pen stroke is gold, and I've broken all the molds. I'll never know what it's like to have sold my soul or lose control. Beauty is the sight I behold. I'm writing a renaissance and cut from a different cloth. Sauvignon Blanc and fromage. I'm a dawn. 11 hours in, and I'm thinking about retirement, but I have the world to inspire me. Thank you.
Fire! Fire!
Appreciate y'all.
Should be good. Fire! Do-do-do. No. There you
Check, check.
go. Fire!
Hey. Can y'all make some good noise for my brother Chinua Rhodes? Chinua, I'm gonna jump right in here.
Yeah.
We got some questions, but really, like, we talk all the time.
Yeah.
And so this is really more of a conversation, not really like an interview.
Okay.
How do we know each other? Like, let's start there.
Yeah, no, first off, happy St. Patty's Day. You see the green.
No, look,
But,
I appreciate that as somebody who's from Boston.
there you go. There you go.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm not
No
black.
green.
I'm not black Irish, so I don't think it's
I'm Black Irish Canadian. So I met Paul, bro. We were actually in a youth development training type of thing, and I remember Mike Brim afterwards was like, "Who wants to rap?" And then a whole bunch of people came up, and I hopped in there, and we were just rapping.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Oh, this dude does youth development. He got bars. He's actually rapping." All right, and so that's how I met you, just through the art. We were there doing youth development work, after school programs, and all that kind of stuff. But really connected over the artistry, and we built like a long-lasting relationship over that time. That's been like a really dope brotherhood.
Yeah, we were bald black guys with beards in the same training. And
That's what brought us together. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
Being bald with beards. Yeah.
right. And Mike Brim,
Was bald too.
yeah, he was bald too, and he was a DJ.
I think it was Mike Brim's fault that we're bald.
Yeah,
I think we just
it's-
inspired to
that's
be
probably how that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when he turned on the beats and stepped to the mic, and I heard what he was rapping about, and he heard what I was saying, I think that there was a lot of power in the content of the lyrics that also connected us and brought us together. I knew I wanted to have more conversations with you because of what you were saying that day, and yeah, being in that space together.
Yeah.
When did you recognize the leader in me? And I'm gonna ask you the same question, or I'm gonna answer the same question for you about when I recognized the leader in you. Because for me, it was almost immediate. It wasn't just about, we are working in these after-school programs and managing teams and et cetera, when you talked about the needs for your students and the needs for your community, it was a different type of talk.
Yeah.
It was systems level thinking, right? And for all the kids out there who may not know the difference, right, there's this thing that happens where folks hyper-focus on what they are responsible for, right? So, not to knock any of the teachers here, but sometimes a teacher might get caught up and say, I'm only responsible for the kids in my classroom, right? Like the kids who are on my roster, those are my babies, right? There are other folks who go, well, actually, I'm thinking about my entire school campus, right? So my kids are mine, but also your kids are also my kids, and right, and things like that. And that's an important perspective to offer too. But it's a whole nother tier, right? Where you're saying it's not just that we're responsible for students, but we're also thinking about the parents. We're also thinking about the communities that these families live in, and how do we address the needs that exist in those spaces. And those are some of the early conversations that we were having. So that's when I kind of first recognized it in you.
Yeah, no, I would say leadership for me is not only speaking, but having real tangible actions for community service. And when I got to know Paul, and Paul was from Boston, I'm from South Sacramento, and so Paul's from Boston, and just getting to know him, but then also realizing that Paul was this connector, and it was wherever I'm going, Paul was connecting and bridging people together, and what people will see of leadership often, they see that the person out in front, the person saying the thing, the person with the spotlights on them. But real leadership is the person that person goes to connect the pieces to make the things move. And Paul, you were always that person. So I started noticing when you go into spaces how the people who people would think are the people would react to you and connect. And so I was coming from a community organizing background. I understood the power that was, and how you were able to come into a city, tap into an ecosystem, and then be the connector there without even growing up here. It's just a skill set that not many people have. And I would tell you, man, I remember we worked on some project together, and people would be mad about something, and they'll come to me and be like, we should get Paul out of here. And I was like, I'll let go of you before Paul. Like, what are you guys talking about? But it's because of how he always is able to lead and really be the voice in the space. And so Paul has been a guy, whenever I do anything, I try to bring Paul in. It's because he understands how to connect with people, and he really, you really value the end results for the individual. You don't get that all the time.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. In what ways, I mean, this is really a hip hop question,
Mm-hmm.
and it's connected to our larger community. So,
Yeah.
in what ways has hip hop helped you make a positive impact on Sacramento?
Yeah, you know what? It's the lens that I kind of view the world through. You know, really understanding and being able to connect, and how words can bring life or death to situations, and how also words can change narrative and direction. It can uplift. So being an MC and being an elected official, there's moments in time where you're up on stage. Say you're giving a graduation speech, or you need to say something to community, where it's very similar to the same type of ethos and vibe that you have as an MC, where you're up there, you're talking, you're being able to communicate. Hip hop gave me this tool to communicate freely and use the vastness of where my mind can go in creativity and words simultaneously to really impact people. And so in the elected official space, a lot of times when I have speeches or I do other things, or I'm doing a town hall, being able to connect and be able to utilize my words and thoughts creatively in the moment is due towards hip hop and my time as an MC, and it's translated to me to impact community that I serve.
You know what's crazy is people don't realize that MLK freestyled the "I Have a Dream" speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you didn't know, this is the story. He started reading, and it was kind of super quiet, didn't get a bunch of reactions. He was on stage, and there's a number of people who were sitting behind him. So like, go back and find a video. Who's sitting behind him?
Yeah.
And Mahalia Jackson is sitting there and is realizing that the speech is dragging, that nobody's like into it. And she goes, "Tell him about the dream, Martin. Tell him about the dream."
Yeah.
And then it like ignites this switch in him, and then he starts. And when he starts speaking, he's not reading anymore. Kind of taps back into that thing.
Yeah.
And it becomes a totally different energy behind that speech. So
No.
yeah, if like Malcolm was still alive, if Martin was still alive, I'm convinced they would have put out a rap album.
I have a question for the audience. I can't see all of you guys because of the lights, but how many people are perform in some sort of fashion in arts? Can you raise your hand? Okay.
Yeah, that's like the
That's
entire
like
student
entire
body.
space. So entire space. So when you are performing and you have this moment, and tell me if I'm wrong or not, you have this moment where you really understand that you're connecting, and it's like almost like a flow space where you're in the moment, you feel the moment, and you understand that you're in control of that moment. How many have felt that before? Okay, and have you felt as you're performing, when you're in that moment, that also that energy, the crowd or whoever you're performing in front of, that moment is reciprocated, that same energy, you feel it throughout the space? How many have had that moment? Okay, those moments are something to where you tap into something more. It's like an opportunity to transcend where you're at in a moment, and it's the gift that you're giving to the crowd, and that the crowd's receiving, and that energy is being reciprocated. That is very similar to when you're giving a speech. When you're up on a podium, you have a speech, and you're giving a speech, and you understand that you're connecting, but then you look at the crowd and understand that your words are also connecting with the crowd, and that's reciprocated. That is artistry. And I always tell people, we're all artists. We're just painting on different canvases. And while your canvas might be teaching, your canvas might be politics and elected work, your canvas might be emceeing and hip-hop leadership, you are all a painter painting on a different canvas, and that is the beauty. And when you're able to tap into that, you're able to tap into something more. So just a little bit for you guys there.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think about the ways that that's happened for me, whether it's writing grants to transform community spaces, organizing events like the MLK 365 March, right? If it's coordinating with Rock the School Bells, right, and the Low End Theory Collaborative to provide hip hop education conferences and experiences. Oftentimes it's mentoring, right? Like younger artists and having those one-on-one conversations and helping them see possibilities for themselves that maybe they couldn't see before. So again, the nature of the work, it doesn't look the same day to day, but it's very values driven, and it's really kind of based in, your belief system, right? You talked about that flow state. It sounded very, spiritual, but I think a lot of the things that guide our decisions are these values that really shape who we are, right? And where that comes from. And we spoke a little bit about this in the master class, about how there's the internal dialogue that you have with yourself about who you are and what you stand for and who you decide to stand up for and what you decide to stand against, and that's really important. There's also this piece about, your family and the culture that you come from, and sometimes those things that seem like common sense but are really cultural norms and rules, for your life, right, that help govern and shape the way that you see the world. And then there's the world that, like, the larger societal context, maybe it's the city of Sacramento, the state of California, right, the United States of America, where we are right now, that really think of you differently than the way that you see yourself, right? So it's an important thing to notice that sometimes those values and beliefs are shaped at multiple levels, and you have to recognize that the one that I think is the most important is the conversation that you're having with yourself. When you understand who you are and your place in the world around you, there's a lot of power, right, and a lot of energy in that. So when I think about the ways that hip hop has helped me shape Sacramento, I think it starts there, and then it ripples out from there. But as we, this is a hip hop goes global conference.
Yeah.
Right. So as we're thinking about the impact, right, of hip hop beyond just the local level, why do you think hip hop resonates across borders, language, and even cultural difference?
Yeah, for me, I think that hip hop connects because it taps into who we are as people, as human beings, being able to tell stories and experience different places and different times through the lens of the artist. So when you rap and you did the straight from Africa rhymes, I can catalog moments in your life, and then I could see myself or try to picture what that would look like. And it gives you a clear opportunity to be able to like, this is what it might be. That connection. I also think when it comes to hip hop, and even from the ways of like talk about the grills and all the things like that, and where it comes from, West Africa, things like that. This idea that the words are feeding you, and then I feel like the music that connects is also like the water, also like the nourishment, right? So it's like food and water at the same time, and that's what hip hop is. On a very basic note, I feel like hip hop is nourishment, and we found ways to connect to that nourishment in times when things around us are not nourishing. When you have malnutrition of your world around you, hip hop, for me at least, has been a nourishing place. I think I found hip hop in high school when when I'm in school. I went to McClatchy High School right here in the city, and I'm a kid that, man, I didn't have a pair of Nikes till like ninth grade, and like then my Nikes weren't like cool Nikes, so they're getting on me for not having the right Nikes, bro. It was wild. But I remember that I found music in times of like hardship. If it would be I lost my house, or I'm dealing with this, or all these things that are happening in my personal life. Music was this thing that nourished me, and where I found purpose. And so by 10th grade, I was a kid that was freestyling during lunchtime. I was a kid that we're going to the skating rink where I'll rap against anybody, and it was just like this thing that I found purpose and belonging through, and was getting fed because I was able to tell my story constantly. And so it was a space, artistry was a space that I found freedom in. And I think that in a world that always has malnourishment around it, to find something that's so nourishing to self, that also you can build on and build these relationships and find commonality. For me, that was hip hop for me. And that's why, just like any other art form, people might find it in other art forms, but I definitely find it in hip hop. It helped me express the world around me while edifying my lived experience.
Yeah. Dr. Max Cloud, who studies leadership, he talks about that concept, right, of the inner world and the outer world. And he talks about the idea of be, know, do, right? There's, in order to answer the question of what do I do, to maybe solve some of the problems of the world, or, for how do I find my life's purpose, you gotta kind of work backwards and think about who do I want to be, and have that shape the things that you want to know. And that'll point you in the direction for the things you want to do. And so when thinking about this conversation around who do I want to be, it's the values-based conversation. And thinking about this question about how hip hop really resonates across all of this difference, I think it's because it also starts in that place of who do I want to be?
Yeah.
Who do I want to be on the mic? When I grab the spray can for the graffiti, who do I want to be on a dance floor, right? A lot of times, people's personal emotions and creativity really get a chance to shine through. And when that creativity is really authentic and original, it showcases the best of who that person wants to be and who they want to become. And so I think that that's really, where it starts as well. we work on a lot of things,
Yeah.
right? We're like doing a lot, and so I'm curious if you could share about what you're working on now to remix your community for the better, and then I also share about what's happening in Boston.
Yeah, no. Right now, there's a couple of things that we are actively working on. I'll talk about some things that we've done, and also where we're trying to go and we're trying to build on. When I was first elected in 2020, feels like, man, 20 years already, but it hasn't been. In 2020, when I was first elected to office, as I walked my neighborhood, I always thought, there's beautiful murals downtown Sacramento. It's like just a beautiful place. Walk around, art everywhere, feels vibrant, downtown, midtown. And one of my things is like in South Sacramento, where do we have opportunities for art? Where we have opportunities where people can see beauty constantly. Remember, we talked a lot around like, what does it look like to have murals, and what does it look like to do things, and what are one of our biggest canvases are? There are school sites, and it took a little while, but we actually in the south side of the city started doing large-scale mural projects on schools, and to where and it really like changed the neighborhood because you have the whole frontage of a school site with murals, and on the side and the inside, we have one school site on 68th Avenue, Rosa Parks, K through 8, literally has 45 large-scale murals on the school site. When you drive past, the neighbors look outside the house and they see large murals right in the neighborhood. What that did, though, they think about, like murals on the school, okay, cool. People now walk around their community. People are outside. It's built this beauty and this public space that people are now connected with, and that took on, and then we did so many murals throughout the school district itself. But then also, when we talk about facilities and how we're trying to build out community, one of the crazy things of living in South Sacramento is saying, well, what does it look like to revamp with equity lanes facilities and what that looks like? It doesn't sound sexy at all. It's like facilities master plan with the equity lanes.
Building operations, a blueprint.
But what that does now is it has made us be able to build these 4 new school sites right in the South area, right? Mm-hmm. And the policy of that is going to be like, even when I'm not an elected official any longer, or not on the board of education, literally for generations, the where we build, how we build, and why we build is built in. And that comes from the community perspective of like what we're trying to do. And then broader to now, we're trying to figure out how we can continue to build art spaces throughout the city of Sacramento. We have this thing called Activation Sacramento. We partner with SMUD, we partner with other folks. This idea that across our city, schools should be hubs of our communities, where art, culture, youth development, health and human services should not be seen as supplementary, but ingrained in the DNA of what we do as at schools. And so, what we've been doing is we've been monthly opening up school sites on the weekends and having all of these resources, all of these opportunities, and partnering with SMUD to do that type of work. We just, at one of our new sites, we just did some tree planting, and so it's just like, how do we build on the small things that can, throw a pebble in the pond of destiny that shows these ripples into the future that really makes impact. So those are some of the things we're working on now, and it's exciting. It's exciting to be able to kind of be this, whatever I imagine, I actually believe that we can do, and I've seen it play out time and time again. So creativity, artistry is something that kind of really changes how you view the thing. Some people think it's very like in boxes. I think as artists, at the core of us, you're able to think outside the box to be able to really impact things you want to see. So anything in your community that you believe that you want to see, the crazy part is you can make it happen. It's the only thing that you have to really imagine is not the wall, that's stopping you from getting it done, but really, do I need to go over the wall? Do I need to go under the wall? Or how do I get around this wall? Because the walls are always going to be there, but it's the job of people and artists to figure out what is the world that I should live in, and what could that look like? And that question of what could that world look like, hold on to that always. Because what the world we're living in now and what it could be can only be imagined by you guys right now. Like we're imagining daily, but what the world is going to look like for all of you guys is going to be on, hey, what would I love the world to look like? What could it be? And let's follow that thought. And I hope that through all you guys' art that you guys are doing, you continue to be imaginative, creative, and that question of what could it be, and follow that line.
Yeah, no, it's dope. Appreciate you sharing all of that because I don't think everybody always gets a chance to hear about some of the work that's been done. And so thank you for sharing. In Boston,
Yeah.
there are lots of ways that Boston is similar to Sacramento.
Yeah.
And there are lots of ways that it's just not. It's just a different space. Yeah. It's got a different history.
Yeah.
And
you
so,
talk with an accent, man. Pocket car.
well, you know,
Yeah.
there are some people who talk with that accent. And I'll be honest, like, and this is also part of the thing, right? I think one of the biggest challenges that Boston faces is its national and international perception. So a lot of people, when they think about Boston, like, tell me if I'm lying, they think about Celtics,
Yeah.
the Boston Red Sox, maybe the Patriots, right? If they're in the playoffs or whatever their championship games are. Outside of that, though, they think about Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, right? Am I lying? Like,
Is Wahlberg there too?
yeah, Wahlberg, right, exactly, the Wahlbergs. And so
Yeah.
they think about that, and then they get that idea of like, oh, y'all talk with accents.
Yeah, everybody.
And it's just not true.
No.
There's over 186 languages that are spoken in the Boston Public School District alone.
Yeah.
Right? I go weeks without seeing white people in Boston. It's a thing. Like saying it out loud, people are confused. You know, we have whole kind of communities of people from the Caribbean, from West Africa, from like all over the world, really, in these pockets. But you know, up until maybe last year, the year before, right? There were no black people in any of the commercials about Boston. That the state of Massachusetts had an $18 million marketing fund.
What up, Benzino?
I'm telling you, he wasn't in any of the marketing
He was
material.
known in marketing?
He's not in any of the marketing material.
Benzino's
He's on the blog sites.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, but this is a thing: $18 million budget without any representation of the actual Bostonians who made up the city.
Wow.
And so there's more Cape Verdeans, right? And people are like, "What's that?" Cape Verde is like is a island right off the west coast of Africa. It was colonized by Portugal a long time ago, so you have a lot of Portuguese-speaking Africans, right, on the island. But there's more. I don't know, bro. I wish. Life might have been a little bit easier growing up, but no. But there are more Cape Verdeans in Massachusetts than there are on the actual island of Cape Verde, right? And people overlook Massachusetts. They think, oh, you're a small state, highly educated, super wealthy, all this kind of stuff, and then they miss the diversity that's actually there. Because of gentrification, because of rising rents, you know, we're starting to see a lot of people of color pushed out of the inner city, right? They're now in the suburbs, 45 minutes, right? 90 minutes outside of the city of Boston. But we also get like 500,000 transplants from like the Caribbean, West Africa, you know, all these other countries every year, right? And so when you think about Boston, city of maybe 8, maybe 9 million people in the city, that's similar to the number of people who are here in the Sacramento region. But the diversity, the language, the experience is so different. And so the challenge is how do we think differently about marketing? How do we think differently about policy? Who we amplify, right? How do we think differently about the storytelling for this?
Yeah.
We don't have any media outlets that are national news, right? Like a New York might, or Atlanta, or LA, right? We have a lot of people here who are creatives who feel like we have to leave Sacramento to get a shot. We gotta go to San Francisco, Oakland, LA. How many times y'all heard that?
LA for sure, people like,
right?
Time of LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in reality, if you stay put and you build the thing right where you are, then you'll have what those other cities have. Because they're just siphoning your talent. They are, right? And so when you think about Boston, right, there's this idea that because it's been around, right, one of the first cities, it's got this deep kind of colonial history, et cetera, that there's no possibility for innovation or for change. And the reality is, when you have people in leadership positions like Mayor Michelle Wu, right, and Governor Maura Healey, who are saying, no, we're down to shake things up, right? We're down to stand up to Donald Trump or the federal government and say, this is what our city needs, this is what our state needs, right? It changes what then is possible, how money flows, what opportunities get created. And so it's possible, but it takes leadership.
Yeah.
It takes people who say, we can envision something different, and we're willing to work through all of the boring stuff, the blueprint, the this policy, the that thing, so that we can remix the world we currently live in and create something that is better for everybody in the future. And so for me, that's super hip hop, right? Like taking from the old, finding the best parts, and making it something new, like that is incredible. But that's, part of the hip hop mindset. I know here in Sacramento, one of the things I was talked about a lot was, Sacramento was aspiring to be a world-class city. And it
Still aspiring.
It's still aspiring, right?
Yeah.
It's something that's a work in progress.
Iterations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can art and culture be a strategy for that type of economic growth in tourism dollars? That's first question, but the other part to this question is, what would it mean for the city if the world were to experience Sacramento as a destination city?
Yeah, and so two things. So the first one is, what would it look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that in Sacramento, California, one of the things that we do well is we promote the Central and Midtown Central City. That's promoted well. The riverfront. That's all promoted very well. I think that the magic of Sacramento is actually the neighborhoods, and what we really need to focus on, and you see it in any great city that has done something amazing, is that they've had these artistic culture hubs in the neighborhoods that flourish outward and do things. And everybody from South Sacramento, anybody say, hey, South Sacramento, so much talent. Where do people in South Sacramento go to hang out? Downtown Midtown.
Right.
Where do people from the Tumps go and hang out? Downtown Midtown.
Right.
Where do people from West Sacramento go and hang out? Downtown Midtown. They also maybe go to the Rivercats game. So.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, we have the spot, but also we have to cultivate areas and neighborhoods in our city where you can actually have these things happen. A lot of people live in certain parts of the city and they don't work in those parts of the city because the jobs are not there in those parts of the city, right? So building up parts of the city to be able to have access. I think one of the things that Thomas did amazing was when they built their aquatic center, right? The aquatic center brings people from all over the state, all over the region.
Y'all know the aquatic center? I heard some whispering. I was like, oh, y'all been there?
Have you guys been to the aquatic center?
Okay. There's a couple people, maybe some no's. The other thing I think is really great that's out here in the north area too is the rink.
The Rink Studios right in Del Paso.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when you talk about what would it look like for Sacramento, I think that Sacramento has had it. We've had the festivals that come through. We have the week of the festivals. We always have, Thomas definitely has a really cool Easter egg stuff they do. They have really cool kite festivals that are happening. We have opportunities with our soccer team, baseball team, or basketball team. We won against the Jazz just last week. I know if you guys don't like the Kings, diehard Kings fan, we won against the Jazz.
I can root for the Kings. You know what I'm saying? Just not harder than the Celtics. That's it. That's you know what I mean. But I root for them.
Yeah. Okay. So my guy's going back to Boston tomorrow, but that statement, I guess I'm not mad about it. But no, literally, we have all the things kind of set up. But what we have to continue to do is, as we put time, energy, and money into these big things, that we also are investing in the people who live here, who want to create here, and so they can continue to be part of those things, because those people are going to be the people who are going to actually build the economy to be able to make it make sense. We can't just be a tourist city, because if we want to be a great city, you have to have tourist attractions, but you also have a vibrant neighborhoods and communities throughout. And if we as a city and people who make decisions in the city lose sight of the duality of that, it's not a this and that, it's a this and the and is really the cornerstone of what we need. The and the people is really the cornerstone, and so if we can find ways to continue to uplift people and their art, and as well as we do with the other big shiny things, I think that we're moving in the right direction. But once again, we have to get out our own ways. As elected officials, often we think kind of esoterically around like these big ideas that we want to do, but sometimes elected officials forget how to tether that to people. We have to connect policy to people and people back to the policy to really make it work. And people, as electeds, don't do that enough. And so I think that more people should think that way. And you know how we said back in the day, we want to make policy that slaps.
Yep.
And that's like a hip turn, but like literally that impacts people in a positive way that they feel, and they can see and they can touch. And it's not just words. And so if Sacramento can lead in that way, then I think that we're on the right track, and that our young people won't want to leave somewhere else after they get their education, or if they leave and get their education, that they want to come back and they want to build the roots because they see it as viable here for them, and they see that they can have and build more and dream and be part of this ecosystem that is really connected to a larger one. And that's what we do in the city of Sacramento.
Right. So, again, I know that y'all are in high school now, but as you're thinking about what is in front of you in your future, whether that's entrepreneurship or working at other companies or whatever it is that you decide to do, just know that Sacramento can be a home for your creative business, right? You have everything that you need right here, and it's not by looking up, it's by looking across, right? The people you go to school with will be the people you do business with later, right? The people who you meet, what I'm saying, at a professional development training, will become lifelong friends, and troublemakers together.
Yeah.
Good trouble. Yeah, good trouble. I think I have maybe a couple of easier questions to ask.
Fun.
And then we're going to open it up for some Q&A, because we've had our conversation, we'll continue to have our conversation, but we wanted to let y'all into our world a little bit. So what's one book you'd recommend right now?
Man, my favorite book ever is by Paulo Coelho, and it's The Alchemist. The Alchemist is my favorite book. Actually, my son is named after Santiago, the book. When you first open a book, it says the boy's name is Santiago. And my son Santiago comes directly from that book, the name. So I would say The Alchemist.
That one.
It's so dope. Like if you have not read The Alchemist, please read The Alchemist. Fire.
I got 2 books I recommend. The first is The Artist's Way. So if you haven't, read that, definitely jump into that. The other book I also recommend for artists is called The 4 Disciplines of Execution. Because there are a lot of folks who say that, oh, I want to be an artist and a visionary, and I don't want to think about any of the business side, or I don't want to think about how the operations stuff can work. But the 4 Disciplines of Execution, I think, gives you a lot of tools about how to get things done. So there's that. Another one. What's one album that you recommend?
One album.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I know Paul Willis has an album that he had recently.
It doesn't have to be mine.
That one.
Okay. Yes, the book comes with an album. It doesn't have to be.
One album I recommend. Man. See, that's why I should have read this question beforehand. Okay, so one album that I would recommend, one I like a lot. I really enjoy still the Blueprint album of Jay-Z. Still like one of my favorites. Something I can still listen to and really take that in. So off the top of my head, the Blueprint is one of my favorite albums. I rock with Jay for this one.
Not mad. I think for me, if you haven't heard the new J. Cole album yet, Fall Off.
That's a cool one too.
Go listen. There's a song on there that he writes from the perspective of Biggie and Tupac, like apologizing to each other.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, so go listen to that song, and then go listen to something a fan made, which is like the AI version of that record, and you get to hear those verses done in Biggie's voice and Tupac's voice. It's like chilling. Who's one Sacramento? This could be a hip hop artist that you'd recommend. But if it's not a hip hop artist, that's okay too.
Okay.
I'm just curious. Who's somebody you'd recommend for them to tap into?
Paul Willis.
I appreciate you. Give him another one.
Okay.
Give somebody else. I'm here so they know. You know what I mean? Like they know.
I think I talked
we
about
connected now and forever. You know what I'm saying? But like, who's somebody?
So artists, there's some really dope ones. I think Vadia is really amazing. She's a singer. If you haven't heard her music, every time I see her perform, I always tell people, hey, you're gonna cry, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good cry. It's gonna connect with you. So Vadia definitely, Damani, but then I also, there's a rapper, young guy, Jakari Smith, here locally that's doing some dope stuff. Hayla V, who is amazing. Man, so many artists. Obviously Christian, so Philharmonic is amazing as well. Bossy, who's in LA now, but Bossy's amazing, one of my favorites. Man, you said one, huh? I'm going on.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool because it was really hard for me to narrow it down to.
Yeah, no, there's so many. I'm like,
you named all of these people.
Yeah.
I think in
Karita Bailey.
Right, in the hip hop space, that was gonna be my go-to.
Yeah.
Is Karita Bailey and his band Soul Development. That's SOL Development. Go listen to their album, The Soul of Black Folk. It's incredible. Karita is doing really dope work around men's wellness and fellowship. And so, yeah, just check him out, check out his work. There's also some incredible bands in town that are hip hop, R&B, funk, soul. Just, if you're into live music, go see the Bad Notes whenever they're on the bill, the Lab Rats, and the band Hayes.
Band Hayes.
Yeah, Hayez. Those are incredible artists from Sacramento.
Hey man, I know a lot of groups.
Yeah. It's too bad the Cloud Hats aren't still making music regularly. I think my last kind of question, because again, this is about hip hop goes global. So, who's an international artist? That you recommend?
So you said I can pick anything. there's a couple of artists who I really enjoy. There's an artist out of Peru. Her name is Susana Vaca, VACA. Susana Vaca is like amazing, and she's taking like Afro-Peruvian type of work, taking some indigenous things, African, and just like how it mixes together so beautifully. It's really dope. So I enjoy her music a lot. And then also there's a guy from Cuba. His name is Alex Cuba. That is also fire. That does some really great music. If you're into like Latin type of mixture, he does some hip hop stuff, and he also does some bongo stuff, and he does some like Latin rock stuff. It's kind of interesting, but yeah. So a little bit of all of that is what I would say. I gave you two.
No, it's cool.
Spanish speaking
I got a couple too because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick. Anna Tijoux. Where's she from, Marty? Was it Chile? She's a dope rapper. We saw her live in Boston with her band, just out of control. She just fired. Anna Tijoux. Check her out. There's a guy, his name is Jonathan Suazo, and his wife, Fabiola. They're incredible artists separately, but oftentimes they'll also play and perform together. Jonathan put out an album called Ricano about his Puerto Rican and Dominican roots, specifically focused on the like African influences in those islands. And so, yeah, if you were a fan of like the Bad Bunny album and you like jazz music, it's like a mix of that. Fabiola actually played, I forget the name of the instrument, with Bad Bunny for his Tiny Desk. So she's in that video. And she has her own Tiny Desk video. And so she
was playing the smaller guitar, yeah?
Yeah, with the like 4-string. Yeah.
She's
dope, fire. She's incredible. And then like African artists too, like, if you haven't heard Wizkid, go check out Wizkid. He's incredible. There's just so much talent, I think, all over the world. Talented artists in Brazil with like that violent funk, you know what I'm saying? There's all sorts of stuff that is out there that I think that y'all should tap into. And it's rooted in like hip hop, culture, and aesthetic. And so definitely check that out. Yeah. We're at like 3:15. So I think this is a pretty good time. I'd love to be able to open it up for some Q&A. I've got, there's not a third wireless mic, right?
No, just.
Can I take a recorded mic and then we can maybe pass this one around for folks?
And I can run around.
Please, yeah. We want to open it up, for any questions that you might have for us. We might have to turn the lights back on just a little bit to see, some of the hands in the room. Because we've covered a lot. We've talked about hip hop. We've talked about policy. We've talked about community development. We've talked about, thank you. We talked about hip hop and youth work. We talked about hip hop and self-development, We've talked about hip hop at the global level.
Yeah.
There's so much here. So curious about questions that might exist. I see a hand right here.
This is a question for both of you guys. Who is your favorite, or do you think is the greatest? Who do you think is like the best hip hop producer?
You take it first, but that's right.
Sheesh. It's hard because I love so many. I really do. But there is something about Pete Rock production that just gets me going. Like, I ain't got the knees to be a b-boy, but if I could like dance and like spit on my head and the whole thing, it would be to Pete Rock's beats all day. They're incredible like artists though. I'm curious about who you'll name, and then maybe we can shout out a few others.
Yeah, no. Currently, I think it ebbs and flows for me, but I'm really vibing with Alchemist currently. Alchemist is just crazy.
Yeah.
Alchemist is crazy.
And he's been so good for so long. But
Yeah.
shout out to Jay Dilla, shout out to No ID,
Yeah,
shout out
yeah.
to DJ Premier.
And Kanye too. It was
Kanye.
controversial. He's a dope producer.
Yeah, I can't take that away from him.
You can't take away from the producer.
No.
He's been kind of wild.
Him, Just Blaze,
Yeah.
and a few other folks who are just, really incredible. There's a lot of talent out there, but that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Is there another question? Yeah.
Are there any B-boys or B-girls that you're friends with?
Ooh.
You know what?
Yes. What's homegirl who won from Japan? She won the gold medal. I don't remember her name, but she won the gold medal at the Olympics. I just thought her style was so fly. But the biggest b-boys or just dance group in general that I advocate for is the Floor Lords. Their president, Alex Diaz, is a member of that USA Olympic team. And he's from Boston. That group is from Boston. They were dancing downtown before hip hop was really a thing, making money and change and stuff like that. And they're still teaching. Those guys are still going and doing their thing. And they're some of the best human beings, teachers, and dancers that I've ever seen.
And I agree with Paul, but I'm wondering, I forgot her name. She was terrible. But she was from Australia, I believe. Willis, man. I just,
I know what you're talking about. I'm look. But also here in Sacramento, we've had some incredible talent too. What's my man's name? Alex, and then there's my other guy, Vinsanity.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if you know them. We're also really good friends with Jigman. He's not a big boy, but Jigman 23.
He's doing crumping and all the things.
Crumping, dance comedy, just really great.
They also have a whole bunch of Nightwalkers type of sessions where dancers get together.
Shout out to Concept.
And they actually literally do some amazing things. They were meeting right here in Natomas for a while at the Natomas. Where's the shopping center that has
I know what you're talking about. I can't name it. Shout out to Paige Yang. Shout out to
Paige is amazing as well.
Yeah, just so many people doing some incredible work. Coco, KJ.
Yeah, the dance community in Sacramento is huge.
Yeah,
and it's dope.
Miss T Sandiford.
Oh yeah,
Miss T, come
Miss T
on, beast, amazing.
Yeah.
Great question.
What is your biggest advice for the next
Sheesh.
generation?
Okay, I would say my biggest advice for anybody in the room is don't believe the hype. Don't believe that you have to be the most articulate in the space, that you have to come from a family of wealth or upward mobility. Don't believe that you have to have a title in front of your name or behind your name to be able to make change and to follow your dreams. Sometimes you might feel that way, but it's not true at all. Don't be right.
Yeah. Leadership starts inside. When you change the way that you think about yourself for the positive, everything else around you starts to change. You will literally see the world different by developing your mindset. So I'd say all of those things I second and third, but also don't stop learning. Don't stop reading. Don't stop listening to podcasts, developing your skills, because whenever you invest in yourself, it pays dividends later.
Don't stop believing. Okay, anyway.
That's a Boston record.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, next question, and then I'll see a hand over there.
Who inspired you guys to follow the spirit?
You know what inspires us to follow what?
The spirit.
Spirit. Yeah, you go first.
I mean, my grandmother, right, was super big into education, was a minister, was a nurse, all of that, is incredible. She was an incredible influence. But this career didn't exist. We're making it. It didn't exist. 20 years ago, I could not write about hip hop in a college classroom. I could, if I listed, right, from my CV, the colleges that I've given lectures at or workshops and been paid for, right? To like teach at that level, talking Harvard, MIT, Emerson, Berklee College of Music. I'm talking about like some of the top institutions, right, in the world have like paid me to teach some of the things. And so, yeah, like when I look across at my peers who are doing the same, like they inspire me because they're creating and reshaping even what's possible in the space. So, my grandmother is one of my biggest inspirations, but there was no blueprint for the things that we're doing now. There was no hip hop leadership, no framework, not a guideline until I created it, right? And so there are these lessons that we can learn from our ancestors, right? From people who came before us. All those things are important, but your genius will be in your ability to adapt and to innovate those lessons into something that fits our modern context.
Yeah. And for me, I would say my grandfather was a huge inspiration for me, and my father was a huge inspiration for me. I always say that I get both of those sides of the coins, which creates me. My grandfather was in politics, more bureaucrat. He was the first black person to hold an executive seat in the state of California. He was head of Parks and Rec for the state of California. So that's what my grandfather did. That's what our family side of. And then also, my dad was a organizer, community organizer, and working with people in California. So we got this organizing and community, and you have this political person, and both those people influenced me heavily to what I do today.
Here we go 1, 2, and then 3.
Just to kind of check, we have 1 minute to develop, so if you guys are good with saying.
Yeah, because I saw your hands, and I don't want to like not answer those questions, so we're down. But
So, music is like a language, right? So, like, what's the best way to express your way of that language?
I think the best way to express, especially through music, is honestly. I think there's so many talented people who exist in the world who have skills where they can play guitar, bass, drums, and all these things. But when it's not coming from this honest place, then it doesn't connect. And so I think that that's the key thing is make it authentic, make it original, continue to stay honest to that feeling of the thing that makes you really excited. And whatever your instrument is or whatever genre you decide to go in, I think it'll connect and relate to others if it's honest about that human experience.
That's beautiful. And also, language is a creation tool. So understand with your music, you're creating and you're building worlds that are imagined in the crawl spaces of your imagination. And so remember that as you build, that it's creation as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's go ahead.
What's your guys' like favorite type of hip hop? You know, there's a bunch of different types, like singing, rapping, but what's your guys' favorite type? And also from my friend here, she asked if you guys can freestyle.
He rapped. Yeah, he rapped. So I used to rap back in the day, guys. I haven't really rap forever. So I haven't really rap forever. I can try to do something.
The first
I can hit everything with a beat and I'll do something.
The first part of your question is your favorite kind of element or part of the culture. For me, outside of rapping, it's b-boy, like breakdancing culture, right? There was an event that happened in South Sacramento in like somebody's like car dealership called the Sweet 16 Championship, and they brought competitive dance teams from 16 countries like Europe, Russia, like all over to come and compete in South Sacramento. And just the way that people embrace each other, the fashion, the style, the moves. It was an incredible environment to be in. And you don't need words in that environment to really feel it. That, and it also kind of cheats because you need really great DJs, you know what I mean? And like great music for that to happen. And so kind of getting a little bit of both.
Yeah, mine would be the DJ and beat making aspect of it. When you get a DJ to create, it kind of like builds on all the other things. So like the people who are creating the music give space for the dancers, give space for the MCs. And so back in the day, the DJ was the leader. As you see, the MCs are the lead focus now. The DJs were back in the day. So I think the DJ beats are for me.
That's fire. That's fire. And then you want him to rap? That's the deal.
Man, okay.
And you said you want to be or you don't want to be.
Oh man, I'll try to do something. Okay. All right. I'm flying high, but these wings are broken. I'm floating, hoping that these words get your spirit open. This more than potent aroma penetrates all your thoughts. See, I just returned to Rhapsody with no receipt I bought. Where are we going? Hectic life that we live in. We giving up and just living. We play the game by the rules. They travel and we just pivot. We stuck on losing, not winning. No homework credit, just swimming. Past the screaming, we sinning. Let's just start at the beginning. See, these kids is trying, these rappers lying like they be making millions. Seducing the adolescents, they're young and have no feelings. Feeling, okay, I feel it. They say that God is able as long as the person's willing. And when I'm on the mic, I feel like there is no ceiling. I put that on my mother, word up to Zena Wilkins. A penny for my thoughts, let me transfer you to billing. Got people with that loafing, and I ain't into milling. Thank you.
Man, so dope. Thank you so much for your time. Please give one more round of applause for yourselves. Mr. Vetter has like all my information, and so we're gonna try and make sure that the school has copies of the book in the library and all of that. We'll see you all around. We appreciate y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.